Okay, my name is Avery Head. My age is 70. My class year was 1966, and my major was chemistry.
I'm Sandi Weaver Weckesser. I will be 72 in August. I'm from the class of 1966. My major was music education with what Dr. Logan referred to as a teaching minor in theater.
Hello and welcome to another installment of Project 150, 150 stories for the 150th anniversary of the College of Wooster. My name is Samuel Carlson, and today we listen to a conversation between Avery Head and Sandi Weckesser. Classmates and bandmates, these two recall some of their first experiences with band. These include some of their crazier moments and some of their finer band memories.
Avery, do you remember why you chose Wooster?
Well, there were a couple of things that brought me out here. My godfather was very active in supporting my three sisters and myself in music, and his home was in Lucas, Ohio, which is over near Mansfield. And we were both going to the Presbyterian Church in Syracuse, and Worcester was a Presbyterian college. And my older sister came out here to visit the school, and I came along too. And they had a bagpipe band. And since I played bagpipes, I thought that would be a good place to come. So my senior year in high school, I applied to Worcester, and lo and behold, I got accepted. Though my counselor in high school didn't think I would ever get accepted anywhere. And
Why was that?
my grades weren't the best.
I ended up at Worcester not because I chose it, because my high school guidance counselor and my mother chose it. I had other colleges in mind as my first choice. I came with considerable reluctance. But my father had seen the Scott Marching Band, and he was a drummer himself. Never had the opportunity to go to college during, a lot of financial difficulties with the recession, or depression rather. And he very, very much wanted me to be in the Scott Marching Band. And I knew that the college had a very good music department, so despite my reluctance, I came and interviewed with Dr. Ling, having never met him before or been to the campus before. And Dr. Ling said, well, what do you play in the high school marching band? And I said, I play flute. And he shook his head. I don't use flutes in the Scott band. I only have 60 uniforms. I have to choose the instruments that will make an impact sound-wise. Well, I was heartbroken. He said, well, you're going to be a music major. What else do you play? And I looked around the basement of the tub to see what was there, and I saw the bass drum. So I lied. I said, well, okay, I'm very good musician for a high school kid. I can manage the bass drum. But I didn't tell him that. I just said I played bass drum. And he looked at me incredulous because I wasn't very big at that point. I only weighed about 118 pounds. And he said, have you used the bass drum marching on parade? And I put my hands behind my back and crossed my fingers and lied and said, oh, sure. Not realizing, of course, that when he said marching on parade, he meant a good 2 miles uphill, up Bell Avenue, from the center of Worcester up to the college, and then down the hill into the football field. So anyway, I got in, and 4 years later after I graduated, I confessed my lie to him. And he just grinned and said, I knew.
was trying to build a bagpipe band.
Well, you did a fabulous job of working with Dr. Ling and building that. I mean, the college owes its pipe band now to what you did. You were, in some years, almost by yourself.
Well, when I first started, I came and there was one other classmate, Chuck Gabriel, that played pipes, and there were 3 pipers that were upperclassmen. I think juniors. I think they were juniors. And they had been taught by one of the local guys here, and Dave Funk, who was a local lawyer. And I came in, and you mentioned there were only 60 uniforms. Well, they didn't have a uniform for me, so I had to wear my old uniform from Syracuse, the kilt that I had, and until they got one, a regular Scott marching kilt. And but with 5 bagpipers, I convinced Dr. Ling to have a real bagpipe band rather than just have a couple of guys lead the band down onto the field. And so that's where it started. And then I started recruiting after marching band season was over, and teaching people how to play and so on.
I remember very clearly Dr. Ling telling me that we owed the bagpipe band to your efforts while you were here.
It was funny. He contacted me many years later, 1980, and he said, Avery, can you send me a letter or something certifying that you actually got a scholarship for playing bagpipes? Because I have to convince the trustees that it's something that we need to pursue.
Did you ever do anything crazy while you were here? What was the craziest thing you remember doing here?
Nothing as crazy as some of the things that some of the other guys did. I remember last night I went out and I could hear the bell on the chapel chiming at 8 o'clock. And I recalled, do you remember the time that one of the sections got up and they turned the bell clapper around? And at 10 o'clock while we were in chapel, when the chapel was supposed to chime, they had it hooked up to an Uga horn. So the clapper would strike out into thin air, pulling this cord that would sound off an Uga horn. Do you remember that?
No. Well, I was probably cutting chapel, you know. We did that from time to time.
Oh, shame on you. I always went to chapel. It was interesting.
Well, I heard from one of our other classmates that those of us who cut chapel actually helped the college because the chapel fees were given to Hans Jenny, the chairman of economics for the Hans Jenny Investment Fund, which has actually earned quite a bit of money now.
In terms of doing crazy stuff, I suppose one time I slipped and twisted my foot and ended up with a cast on it. And that gave me privileges to use the elevator in the library. And it just happened to be, I think it was IS week. It was in April, and everybody was studying like crazy, to get through their practicals at the end of the year. And the campus atmosphere was very tight at the time. And so I got 6 of my bagpipers, and we got on the elevator and came up on the balcony of the library playing bagpipes.
That's fabulous. I wish I'd have been in the library, but I was probably in the practice house.
And Howie King met us right at the bottom of the stairs as we marched down the stairs, playing right out the door.
Howie King, he was Dean of Men at that time?
At that time, yeah.
Yeah.
That was I think it was my junior year.
That's a great story. That's a great story. I think the craziest thing I ever did was just lie my way into the Scott band. Oh.
This episode was written, produced, and edited by Sarah Torrio, Ronnie Wright, and myself. Special thanks to Avery Head and Sandi Weckesser, and our advisors Richard Figge and Brett Woodard. Our music is from audioblocks.com, and we are supported and sponsored by the College of Wooster. Thanks for listening, and always, until next time.